It's on. It's on. Okay. So a big fat girl can come up to me, and I'm not looking at her fat. I'm looking at her eyes. Now that's
Yeah.
just a guy thing. Because I knew whether it was a guy or a girl, I used to have disdain for fat people. Like I remember being a kid, young driver at 20 years of age, and I see a fat man on a street corner and go, "Why doesn't he just stop eating?" Well, I could say that to me now. Why don't you just stop eating? So, is it a combination of money food, profit food, or is it also the stress of the day that makes us comfort ourselves?
Right. Well, so you said a couple things there, and I would address several of them if I can. One is you talked about learning compassion, right? And so having the extra weight on yourself helps you to be a better person, so you don't judge people. So I want to just give you props for that. The second thing that you mentioned is it money food that is ruining us? And essentially the answer is yes. I mean, after World War II is when the big food companies started taking over in our country in terms of food distribution. And they started adding trans fats to food, and they started adding sugar in the form of high fructose corn syrup. And so that's one thing that happened.
Why?
Well, because
why
food,
corn? Why corn syrup instead of
because we
sugar?
grow corn. Because we grow corn. Because it's something to do with corn subsidies.
So in other words, we got all this corn here, and we're subsidizing these farmers. What do we
What
do
do we
with
do
it?
with it? Let's
Well, instead of
make-
shipping it down somewhere else, South America, let's make something
Let's
out of
make
it.
syrup. And so high fructose corn syrup came into being, as did the hydrogenated products, so that they would have longer shelf lives. You could ship them across the country. They could sit on the shelves for eons, essentially, without going rancid.
What does
Hydrogenated means that you're adding a hydrogen molecule to a some type of fatty acid, and so and then what that does is that actually creates a different type of molecular structure that has been found to cause cancer. So it's linked to cancer right now, which is why companies have to report if they put more than a half a gram of a trans fat in a food.
Good.
They have to put it on the label now.
I'm thinking something went down that we're not being told about. Now, maybe you would know this, but all of a sudden they make trans fats illegal in New York City.
Right.
Now, nothing else than that. They just all of a sudden, there's like this panic. But they kept it subversive because I think, we know that, what's the name of the Procter & Gamble? Procter & Gamble spends $3,000 million. Well, this is actually 10 years ago. It's probably 4,000. But they were spending $3,000 million a year on advertising. That's $3 billion, okay? So all of a sudden, and that means they're very prosperous. So all of a sudden, if it was divulged that Procter & Gamble was putting trans fats in our food, which we find is very harmful, all of a sudden we could have a class action suit in America, and it could put Procter & Gamble out of business, which would put us into a spiral economically and could suck up and ruin the country. So they just go, shut up, everybody. We're just going to make trans fats illegal. So would you say, am I right on course here?
I would say I'm not totally sure, but you're probably on the right track. The other thing that happened along with the trans fats that changed our culture in America that helped create this obesity epidemic is the sugar industry. And what they did in, I want to say the 1960s, is they started paying off scientists to promote the idea that sugar is actually not bad for you and that fat is. And so we have been told that fat is bad for you for 3 decades, and what has replaced fats in our diet has been sugar. And because most of us need fat to live, we don't need sugar. Fat helps you digest and process the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. It helps support your muscles. It makes your muscles stronger, and it gives athletes strength. Fat is a good thing. Your brain is 60% fat, and you need it. You
That's
just
when
need
you're
fat.
dieting,
You
you
need
say you got
healthy
to eat
fats.
nuts and stuff, otherwise
That's
you won't be
right.
able to think clearly.
They're nuts, avocados, coconut oil is actually a saturated fat that used to be vilified and is now gaining traction as a healthy fat.
Coconut oil was vilified?
It was, that's right, because it is a saturated fat. And so when we were vilifying fats, we went, and then we discovered that trans fats were actually cancer-causing. Saturated fats got lumped in with those. And when I was a teacher, so I started my nutrition career as a special ed teacher in the public school system. And so I would teach my students that trans fats are bad. I'd make the the face with the little devil horns on it and say, these are the fats you don't want to eat. And saturated fats are fats that you want to eat in moderation.
That's a great idea for a book. A simple book.
Yeah.
With the faces.
With the faces.
I know it sounds corny, but why do you think they use all the visuals in Europe and now we're copying them here in America?
Right.
And maybe a book, and to be honest with you, I'm not talking about the kids, I'm talking about me. Yeah. Because if I could simply go through a simple little book that had these pictures, and I associate the pictures, then I would know, because I get confused.
Yeah. Well, maybe you and I will collaborate on a book like that, Rhett.
Yeah. Maybe we should.
That would be excellent. The use of pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our brains actually code in symbols. That's why we get marketed to with all these different logos, and we use some of our most ancient symbols to advertise products. And it's because we respond to those on a visceral level, on a really unconscious level. We respond to symbol.
Which is really for those that are seeking power in life, or the idea of power. To know those symbols means you could manipulate. It's just like a lawyer. A lawyer knows the law, so you can manipulate the law. That's why Abraham Lincoln said, if you're going to be an attorney, be honest. If you can't, then find something else to be, because you have that power as an attorney to manipulate the law. So too with that code and symbols. That's yes.
I just want to mention, as far as manipulating, with yogurt, it says low fat, and what they've done, they've increased the sugar. So there's an example.
And
I've always followed my instincts, and my instincts are telling me in the past couple of years, don't drink the 1% milk, go back to the full milk.
That's right. And I would even suggest, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I would suggest that you spend the extra $2 and get organic milk.
I do.
Good.
That's all I'll buy. Women are 60% more prone to get cancer if they drink non-organic milk. That's what I read somewhere.
As one example, as one
if I was a woman, I'd be scared to death to eat anything but organic milk.
Yeah, and if you're looking to lower your cancer risk, I am a fan of adding more organic foods to your life in general, so not just milk.
How do we know about the legitimacy
Yeah.
of organic? Oh, do we have you on? Yes, we do. How do we know the legitimacy of organic food?
That's such a good question, and I hear this question frequently. And the first answer is you can't, because our industries including the organic industry, have been watered down through the political process. And so you don't always know that something is organic when it's labeled organic. I believe that's what I think. However, if it doesn't say it's organic, then you can be guaranteed it's not organic.
Yeah.
So the thing is it's not organic if it's not, and it's 80% likely to be organic if it is.
What about this whole thing they're coming out with now? First of all, I have two questions. The making the food and they're altering the seeds. What's that called? GMOs. I want to broach that subject because
Okay.
I put GMA here. Okay, GMOs. Okay, GMOs. In just a moment. First, I want to ask you though, what about when I'm traveling through Pennsylvania in the summer? I'm heading up towards Canada or wherever, or Maine. I try to take the western route of Pennsylvania. I go up there. I end up in Amish country, and I love the Amish people, and they're just hardworking and so beautiful. But they also have very healthy foods. And they have the milk, and on the milk it says not fit for human consumption. You go out to White Rabbit here west of town, and their milk says not fit for human consumption. Well, this is where the government has gotten in and set a standard, but it is fit for human consumption. They're just saying that it hasn't been homogenized or pasteurized.
It's raw milk. What they're talking about is raw milk. And so then that's a really interesting question too, because a lot of health advocates believe that raw milk, when it's not been heated, contains its enzymes. So more of the nutrients and more of the enzymes in milk, which make it more therapeutic, are available to you when you haven't killed them.
Yeah, because man messes with stuff.
Right, but now there's a reason why man messes with stuff. So I wanted to give you the other side of the coin, which is people who do not have clean practices. And so what our government is trying to do is protect us. And that's why it says not fit for human consumption, because they want to warn you, because just like good organisms are in a healthy cow that is properly, that the person who milked the cow is properly sterilized, the bottle it goes in is properly sterilized, and everything is clean. So that's going to be healthy for you. On the other side of that, it's not going to be healthy for you if there are organisms like E. coli and some of the other pathogens that can get into an unsterilized system. And so that's why they put that there. You need to know where your food comes from if you're going to do something like raw milk, which I am a fan of, but again, only in specific circumstances where you can guarantee the cleanliness of the practice of the farmer.
All right, let me ask you, because when I was young, I was in my early 20s, and I flew down to Key West for my first time to visit my brother who was living there. I'm a New Yorker, and I got a very bad burn sitting there down near the southern point, America's most southern point. And I went to this lady's house. I forget what my brother knew her, and her name was Rose. And she said, "Oh, there's this plant that grows a plentiful supply here. It's a natural remedy. It's called aloe." Mm-hmm. And so I said, "Well, I'll test this out." So that night I put the aloe on one side of my face. My face was bloody red, burned. I woke up in the morning. The side that I put the aloe on had turned to a beautiful golden tan. The right side was still burned. Then I found out later on that aloe is used in burn units. I also have now indulged in aloe. I've eaten it when I've had acidic problems. Mm-hmm. They use it in burn units. As I said, aloe is wonderful. Now, not knowing this, a few years ago I bought a bottle of aloe. And it was of no effect. Because when they have to put it in the bottle, they got to heat it up. They kill all the enzymes, and it's all rubbish. It's worth nothing.
So what's your question?
I just kind of wondered if you were going to comment on that.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. And so, what I get down to at the end of the day is that quality always matters. And so what you're saying, Rhett, is, it was a lower quality product, and that a lot of times how we process something takes away its nutrient value. And so that is applicable to aloe, it's applicable to the milk, to the yogurt, it's applicable to the pasta, your cereal, and processed foods in general, you have to be wary of for that reason.
We're going to continue on here, but in case somebody has to leave their automobile or walk out of the kitchen, if people want to what do you do? I mean, do people go to you for consultation? What are you all about, and how do they contact you?
Yeah, well, so I do consultations with folks, and one of the reasons why I started my superfood company was an exact answer to your question, which is how can I help more people without them having to visit me or a nutritionist? Like, I think it's important to see people who have expertise in their fields. And when you have major health issues, you want to see experts. Well, how is it that you can get to the place where you can avoid major health issues or turn minor health issues around? And so that's why I created the protein powder, the protein all-in-one formulas that Living Love Superfoods carries. And it's so people can get more healthy proteins, healthy fats, 3 servings of vegetables, and probiotics in a daily drink, a daily shake. That you can have for breakfast, you can have as an afternoon pick-me-up instead of, when your energy drops in the afternoon, and that's a danger area for people.
If I don't have protein in the morning, which I have not had this morning, later on in the broadcast, all of a sudden I'll start to sink.
Yeah.
We get a couple of nuts in me or something.
That's right. So, Rhett, right now I'm going to say we're going to send you a bag of powder so that we can help you out with this issue that you're having. Because it will help you with a pickup in the afternoon, but it also just helps you get some essential, high-quality, bioavailable nutrition. So,
what's amazing is when Barbara had cancer, we have a very great oncologist, but he kind of poo-pooed the idea. You hear about eating broccoli and cruciferous vegetables that as soon as they touch the tongue, they're anti-carcinogenic. Well, he was like poo-pooing. You could go ahead and eat ice cream. It doesn't matter what you eat. It just turns into. Well, we find out now that MDs are not trained. They had 1 day of training in diet. Yeah. Which seems so foolhardy because isn't there some famous quote about somebody said in the future? Food will be the medicine. And the Bible. What does the Bible say? In the end times, the leaves of the trees shall be healing to the nations. And I personally believe in that power. We got to take a break. What's your website?
livinglovesuperfoods.com.
Easy to remember. livinglovesuperfoods.com. Even I can remember that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Got to take a break, ladies and gentlemen. You and I in a series of getting and staying healthy together. Mr. B, take us away.
We're going into the news.
It's interesting what you just said that Barbara's oncologist told her because the
Hers said the opposite.
the first thing mine told me, and I had the same kind of
Broadcast
cancer.
in the summer.
No
What is your
sugar
name?
and
Dia,
whole
DEA.
foods only. If it came out of the ground, eat it. No processed.
I
I
have
got
one
it.
here.
Dia?
Opposite of what
Lisk.
her doctor
Well, I had a
said.
friend of mine,
Letters after my name, or-
and I don't know. Are you a
You're a
Christian?
nutritionist, right?
I am a
I
nutritionist.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, but because my friend is a Christian, she 2 years ago she's lost 100 pounds. Well, she said she had some sort of a connection with Jesus, and that this instinctive voice, I mean, like it was spiritual. He was told to just eat whole foods.
Yes.
Now I didn't understand what she meant, but she said with the knowledge or the dictate from above, she immediately knew what it was.
Yeah.
And she's lost 100 pounds. She'll still eat potatoes,
Yeah.
but they have to be full. She'll still eat eggs.
Yeah.
She did stop eating meats
Yeah.
generally, but eating whole foods, and she
Yeah.
got it, and she lost 100 pounds.
Yeah,
I
but
love
that's
it.
terrible what he said to her. That's just
And I think that I would say old school versus new school. I think that a lot of doctors are now getting on board with food as medicine, and they're seeing differences
Yeah.
in their
'Cause
patients.
I won't say this on the air again, but when I was a few years ago, I had it doesn't really matter. But anyway, so I had gone to, well, actually, I became a Christian at 29, and I remember I woke up, and I was a struggling artist living in the ghetto, and I woke up, my feet were swelled up and itchy, my hands were swelled up and itchy. This never happened since or before in my life. So I fell into a sleep, and I dreamt of spinach. And so I immediately got up and I made spinach. I
Wow.
ate the spinach, and then I went to sleep, woke up, it was all the itchiness and all the swelling was totally gone.
Love
So
it.
that night I happened to go to a Bible study, prayer meeting with this little old lady named Ellie, and I'm sure she's long gone now, but she had been a retired science teacher. And she said, well, that makes perfect sense because there's la 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 in spinach. So I believe thoroughly there is a natural remedy for every ailment we
everything.
have.
I agree with that.
Because the Bible says, in the end times, the leaves of the trees shall be healing to the nations.
Yeah.
So we just have yet to discover. I'm totally, absolutely convinced. Just like there's aloe for burns.
Yeah. Well, aloe is, and again, aloe is also good for digestion.
Yeah.
It's good for your stomach. Are we still on? Are we gonna?
No.
Are you? Am I
Well,
done?
we're on.
Okay.
No, we're not done.
Oh, okay.
We're on. We're still on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Good
Right.
to know.
Her mother had lymphoma cancer.
Just like Barbara.
yeah.
Just like Barbara.
Are
And
you cancer free now too, or
Yeah.
how many years are you cancer
3
free?
years.
Oh, thank you.
Huh?
3 years.
Oh, are you? She's over
Yeah.
2 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
good.
you had lymphoma too, huh?
Yeah.
Did you do radiation or just?
Just chemo.
That's what Barbara did.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad she wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
She
mine
wouldn't be
was back here.
That's
so
what
they
she had right there.
They couldn't
All of a sudden,
do-
she shut her bra and she's in this. We're in the
Terrible
bathroom.
pain.
We have the double sink thing. I looked at her. I said, it was like this. I said, what is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then so we went to the doctor, and then she
Yeah.
took half of an Ambien, fell down, broke her leg. The cancer was in her leg and in her back.
Oh no.
And her mother was diagnosed for having brain cancer, who was 89. 3 weeks, and she just says, I'm not having anything done. It's my time. I'm not going to have them operate on my brain. 3 weeks later, Barbara's diagnosed with lymphoma. Is that wild? And then she broke her leg, went into the hospital. They couldn't give you chemo because in order for the leg to heal. So, but she got out of the hospital, and that night her mother died. Oh my God, this little
what a
girl, she's only
terrible
97
situation.
pounds.
Yeah.
5'2", and just this little thing, and they did 9. She was in the hospital 9 times with 7 operations. They even put a hole in her head just
She
to
had
make
a lot worse
sure.
than me.
Did they put anything in you in your back to make sure your brain didn't have the lymphoma?
No.
Hmm.
No. It was localized. I mean, the PET scan just showed it in here. So she had it really bad. Yeah.
But Dia was a tremendous help to Carol.
Yeah, I was her nutritional therapist.
Is that what got you into this, or?
No, luckily
You
I had
already
the
in this?
expertise going in, so I was able to help my mom from that.
Now I'll ask you during this segment. What got you into this?
Okay.
Was there some trauma or something? What got you into this? Because you were a school teacher, you said.
Yeah, I was a school teacher.
Don't tell me now.
Okay.
You won't tell with the same enthusiasm twice. You go, what happened here? Well, I was on a ship, and then the storms came, and the wind blew, and then you get back on there and say, oh, tell us that story again. Oh, I was on a wreck on a ship, and that changed my life. Because, people won't say it with the same.
Yeah. Well, remember that I am used to saying things over or at least
Good.
in the past as a school teacher.
Yes.
I had to
Keeping-
deliver.
yeah. It's a
And
performance.
repetition is part of how you help
Yeah.
people remember things.
What do you think of that idea, visual idea? That is something we could do together. A visual, a simple visual. You know, look, everybody goes, you go, oh, big print, that's for old folks. Let me tell you something. I have many doctor friends, and I used to work at Albany Medical Center in upstate New York. And you know what? At the age of 19, all the books they give to doctors are big print, because a lot of the doctors would do all-nighters. People
Yeah.
have no
Oh,
idea how
awesome.
these guys study. These guys and
Yeah.
gals study to be doctors. My gosh.
Yeah.
Thank God people with the great cerebral ability decide they want to get into medicine, because I couldn't do that. But
Yeah.
anyway, the point, well, you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
Dia Lisk,
Mm-hmm.
M-A-N-T-P.
Mm-hmm.
What's an M-A?
So I have a master's degree in education.
Oh, Master's in Education. And
The NTP is a nutritional therapy practitioner.
what?
Nutritional therapy practitioner. That's
Okay,
my
nu-
certification.
Okay, nutritional
Therapy
therapy.
practitioner.
Okay. Eugene, Oregon. So you've come a long way to be here. Now,
Yeah.
where do you live?
Here in Vero.
Oh, that's why
Oh,
you're
yeah.
here.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And this is your cousin?
Well, Carol's my second cousin, and this is her daughter. So
And how did you
We're
two
third cousins?
end up in the same place? Could just an accident?
it's in my
No.
book.
No.
Oh, it's in the book.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're responsible for bringing her here?
No,
Or-
opposite.
Yeah, you're responsible for bringing her
So
here.
you can thank
Ah.
this lady for her.
Yes.
It's my buddy.
Are you the one who went to Mr. Manatee's last night?
No,
We went
Last
for
week,
lunch.
yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Last week we did.
Yeah.
yeah, but not last night.
No.
Yeah. No, last night.
Okay.
So we're in the news.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for coming in here and fixing that clock, Mr. B.
No problem. I got interrupted. I was synchronizing it with the clock in here.
Oh, yeah, because it was distracting with it going on and off. Yeah, I have a real hard time with my ADHD. It's like, you got to learn. I can't have anybody walking through the door. If I'm in the middle of conversation, it goes right to them, and you might as well
Yeah.
just put a blank slate on my. It goes blank. I'm AD, whatever it is.
There's a funny one here.
Well, you can
I
tell
played
all
for-
the ladies in there. Roger Moore, 007, died this morning.
Oh, that's too bad. I like that guy. Do you know the other 007 has been out here lately playing golf out west of town? Name the one after him.
Pierce Brosnan?
Yes.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yep, he plays golf out west of town.
Wow.
So Roger Moore has passed on. Hey, matter of fact, let me have those things. I
There
should
was
be
a funny
highlighting.
one about a talk show host. I'm sorry.
The one of them was getting good reviews.
So tell me, what are you observing here?
I am observing absolutely nothing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What was the thing that when you put the clock up there for him? What were you
Oh, that was just because the clock was blinking.
We have two clocks.
Oh.
It was off, so you had to fix it. But you should take copious notes.
I am.
You know why? Because selfishly, I could use them in the future. Seriously.
Makes sense.
It'd be great to see what you objectively see. It doesn't mean you have to be verbose, but if you could write down essentials of what you're learning, plus you'll learn it a lot better.
That's right.
That's very true.
You know, like you say, hey, he's being very curious. Good. Oh, he just gave an example, or whatever you might be seeing. You go, wow, blah, 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 blah. And then I can read it and go, wow, I never realized I did that. And you can go back and read it, and you're going to go, wow, I almost forgot that. Because they say if you write something down, they say if you don't write stuff down, you will remember 5% a day from now, and then maybe 1% a month from now. Whereas if you write it down, you increase that so much more, right?
Well, especially because you can go back and review it. So
Yeah.
that's how you, and it does help you
But
remember.
selfishly, I'd like to see what you write.
Missy, for you, you're like, you've been doing this for so long, so I noticed you don't have like a list of questions there in front of you. You kind of
No.
just.
Now I may accept that from people, but it doesn't. A matter of fact, did you bring that? No, I have. This is for tomorrow. Okay, this is for tomorrow. But I'll get a list of questions. But I first I do this. My secret. You want to know my big secret? Is if you try to do good radio here, you will fail. What's the proper thing? I should say. Well, it's all that. That's going to paralyze you. I just go right down here and go. Be real. What do you want to know?
Yeah.
So what do you eat? You know, do you ever cheat and snack? You know, whatever. You know, I mean, like if President Obama walked in here, would I be nervous? Most people go, and I just go, take that away and go to your heart.
Yeah.
What's it like to sit in a seat and know you have the most powerful seat in the world when you know you're a fragile human being with feet made of clay? You know,
Yeah.
you're not a god, you're just a man. What is that like? It would scare the crap out of me. And also, do you have to be a little insane to run for the presidency? And no offense taken. I know you're a brilliant guy. But,
Like, who does
you
that?
yeah, who does that?
Puts themselves in that
You have to
kind
be
of
some sort of a
spotlight.
egomaniac, don't you?
Well, maybe. I think the other side of that might be a really big service. I mean, you have to have a healthy dose of ego, and then you hope that somebody who runs for that is also doing it because they
Yeah,
feel
ego
like
is
they
not
care.
bad.
Stand by in the
It's not
studio,
bad.
open
Like
his
women
neck.
must know this because it wasn't for the testosterone in the male, probably half the people born wouldn't be born.
That's right.
Like I was watching a movie recently, and this gal was saying, "Oh, I don't enjoy sex half the time." And he says, "Well, then why do you have sex with different guys?" They're talking students, young students in high school. She says, "Because the other half of the time I do enjoy it." So, you know, and I was thinking, whereas with the male, generally,
Yeah.
it's every time. Okay, so is that testosterone keeps our procreating man as we know him. Ready? And we're back. This is the Mayor of the Airways. Another beautiful day in paradise. Good morning. Biblical Bill is in here this morning. How are you, Biblical Bill?
Doing fine, and this is most interesting.
Is it not? And you know, in the Bible it says, "The leaves of the tree shall be healing to the nations in the end times." Maybe you could find that during today's broadcast. By the way, before we get back to our special guest today, which is Dia Lisk, and she is a nutritional therapy practitioner who's come all the way here from Oregon to talk to us, folks. Do you have anything that you found in the scriptures thus far that would be applicable for our conversation about food?
Nehemiah 8:10. Then he said to them, "Go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet, and send portions to those for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy to our Lord. Do not sorrow, for the joy of the Lord is your strength."
Oh, that's good. It also so it's saying share in there. Share. You know when they harvest a field in Israel, that they're only allowed to harvest it once. Usually, you know, in America they go back 2 or 3 times. Once, and whatever is left is so poor people can walk on that field and reap what's left behind.
Well, and you know what? I think that's a beautiful point that takes us back to our first topic of this conversation, which is about caring for others and connecting and talking about being in that
Food is
calm
love.
state, and food is medicine and food is love, and,
Yeah.
and sharing is what we need to do on this planet in order to be happy, I think.
I only went hungry once. You ever go hungry in your life?
Not in the sense of being starving.
Yeah.
For
And
an extended
I
time.
you know, I live in America. I mean, you know, you're not going to go hungry here most likely. But I remember when I was a hippy dippy doodle guy, I was 15 years of age following my brother around the country. It was that same year of Woodstock, so I was 15, it was 1969. I happened to be in Baltimore, Maryland with some hippies, and somehow we ran out of money. And I remember being invited into this house, this little apartment, and they gave us white rice in a bowl with some mushrooms. No, nothing else, no condiments, nothing, just white rice. To this day, I'll go into a restaurant, like a Chinese restaurant, and I'll have just a side of the white rice and the mushrooms, because to me it is a delicacy. It tastes better than any steak I've ever eaten. And so my point of bringing this up is, okay, so Rhett Palmer, spoiled white American boy from upstate New York, right? What is it like for somebody in some foreign nation and children that are going hungry right now? And we need to open up our hearts of compassion because we have the power. I broadcast right here in Vero Beach, Florida. We have more Fortune 500 retired CEOs than any zip code in the United States of America. It is not ostentatious wealth. It is subtle wealth because it's earned wealth, which tends to be more humble because they've gone through the process of getting it. But we have the mental power right here. We could touch the hearts of these people. They could feed the world if they wanted to. And certainly if there was remuneration involved, it would be done.
Well, since you're on that topic, I will go ahead and say that is something that's been in the back of my mind with making nutrition powders, because I think about portability. You know, how long does something stay on the shelf? How can you develop a healthy product that actually has a shelf life? And so that's the beauty of protein powders and fats that you don't grind up, so you have them whole. And I have hemp seeds in my formulas right now as that healthy fat. And then
hemp
having
seeds, that's marijuana, right?
no, it's not.
Oh.
Not even close. It has no. It's not psychoactive. At least they are related to each other, the plants, but they don't have the same
So
effects.
hemp rope, you can.
That's right.
You could smoke hemp rope all
And
day
it would
long. You're
not
not
do
going to
anything
get
for
high.
you. That's right. But the
Just
idea,
to clarify for your kids out there that, hey, Ma, you got any rope in the garage?
not going to be what you think it is. However, I think about that with helping people around the world. Is this something that at some point could go to help people so that they could get portable nutrition? I actually have ingredients in the formula that they've done studies on malnutrition and young people with, and so it actually helps bring nutrition to your body. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff. I mean, I could talk to you for hours and hours. You're leaving. You're going back to Oregon though soon.
I am.
But maybe we could do stuff over the phone, or next time you come visit, let's spend more time together, right?
I would love
be
that.
okay because. Yeah, I mean, you're a giver. Obviously, you're not going to be compensated for this. I don't know if you're going to get clients.
What?
How do
What?
you make? How do
That's
you,
not what they told me. I'm just kidding.
No, but how do you make a living? How do you prosper in all this that you're involved with?
Well, so I do, like I said, I do see clients in my private practice,
Okay.
and then I do have this superfood company that at some point I hope will
So
pay
you're just
me.
beginning to
I'm just
distribute.
beginning, yes.
Do you know
It's a new
Greens
company.
Plus? You ever hear of them? They were
Uh-huh.
made in this town, and I'm not sure if they're still in business.
Okay.
But it was started for a man who loved his wife, who was a paraplegic. No, a quadriplegic.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, I had an unction. I said I knew her for years. He'd created this green formula of greens and all kinds of things, and they said it kept her alive. She was the longest living quadriplegic in the history of man, and this was out of the love of her husband. So they created this product, sold it worldwide, and I had this unction a few years ago. I said I've got to put her on the cover of our magazine, Vero's Voice, and I said, and it has to be within the next 2 months. I don't know why I get these unctions. We put her on the cover. She loved it. A month later, her wheelchair tipped over. No one was there to help her, and she died. So it's like I was able to honor her, and whatever that power above wanted her honored, and who knows where we go from here. But anyway, I'm not sure that there was some family involvement that may have brought the business down. I don't know if Greens Plus are available, but had you heard of Greens Plus? Because if those people around here, it'd be good for you to meet them to find out how that was distributed worldwide.
Yes.
So you could
Yeah.
learn from their mistakes and their success.
That's right. And so if anyone from Greens Plus is listening to this, you're welcome to contact me through livinglovesuperfoods.com.
Well, Jude is the owner's name, and remind me when we get off the air, and I'll try to I have his number in my phone.
Okay.
Jude.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because he's a very giving, loving person, obviously. Well, he saved his wife's life.
Yeah.
For
And then
many
many
years.
other people. And so
Yeah.
that's the beauty of coming up with formulas and solutions to some of the problems that we face with nutrition in this world.
Let's
is
talk
that
about
you can help
green.
other people. Okay.
All of a sudden, I'm 63 years of age. I don't know in the past, since my mother died, I don't know why, if that has anything to do with it, but I've had this voracious appetite for anything green. I was served last night grilled chicken. I had mashed potatoes on the plate, which I love. I think there's goodness in potatoes, but carrot, and I had these green beans. And the first thing I did was eat the mound of green beans. I couldn't just stop. It was this insatiable appetite. Why this voracious appetite for greens and the benefits?
So, well, I think you talked about listening to your body
Yeah.
and listening to what your body wants. And so your body is asking for vitamins. It's asking for the polyphenols, is what we call them, a lot of the nutrients that are in leafy green vegetables and different greens.
Is that
and
the most
so-
important vegetable for us, by the way? Greens?
Leafy greens. Well, so I would say that with a caveat. There are certain health conditions or people who are on blood thinners who have to monitor certain intakes, but generally speaking, for health, I think that one of the best things you can do for yourself is increase the amount of vegetables. And I say minor fruit. You don't have to add 7 servings of fruit a day, but you will definitely benefit from 7 servings
Organic.
of vegetables a day. Organic if you can. And then I don't know if you know this, but actually I think it's the Environmental Working Group who has a top 5 or the dirty dozen, they have the vegetables and fruits that have the most pesticide residue. So it helps you to be familiar with that list of the things that you should always buy organic. And strawberries are on that list, apples are on that list.
Are you
Peaches,
young
grapes.
enough to remember? I mean, are you old enough to remember Yule Gibbons?
Yule Gibbons. Well,
Okay.
I'm 53.
53,
so
so you're 10 years my junior. Your mom would know,
Yule
I'm
Gibbons, that
sure.
sounds
Remember
familiar.
Yule Gibbons? He used to come on Johnny Carson all the time. Well, anyway, he was a guy that ate sticks and branches and everything else that's normal out there, and everybody would make fun of him. But he died of cancer, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
And then I think of Paul McCartney's wife, Linda, who was a devout vegan. And she dies of cancer. Well, and I said, well, why all these vegans dying of cancer? And I can't help it because it's probably because of the crap they're spraying on our vegetables.
So, right. Unfortunately, there are other factors. So you could eat, because I've looked at this for years. Can somebody just through eating a diet of vegetables, mostly vegetables, can they gain health benefits? Now, there are some studies that suggest that people who have vegetarian diets tend to live longer. So I am going to say that that's out there, but that's a trend and not a guarantee. So how would you guarantee that you can do the best thing for yourself so that you don't get it, whatever that is, whether it's cancer or Parkinson's or any of the other major ailments that will take you out before living and dying just a natural, healthy life. And so I think that for lymphoma is a great example. They've actually got statistical evidence that shows that lymphoma can be caused specifically by I'm going to go ahead and say controversially Roundup and glyphosate, which is the chemical in Roundup,
Really?
and that has been suggested right now as something that causes cancer. Well, we spray that on almost all of our non-organic food. And so you want to be mindful of the pesticides in your food. You also want to be mindful of the containers that your food is in, which is why a lot of aluminum cans have been lined with bisphenol A. And
Is that good or bad?
BPA, it's bad. So now you'll see on labels BPA-free can, and you want to look for that.
BPA-free.
BPA-free. You want to minimize your pesticide exposure as much as you can, and you can do that through changing also. So one of the things that happens when people get a diagnosis in the holistic health world is, and I want to say that there are some of the major hospitals and university hospitals that are also teaching this now, is you want to get rid of all of your cleaning supplies, your laundry detergents, that have artificial chemicals in them. You want to start getting more natural, scent-free.
I always wondered about that. I wondered how come soap works. What isn't soap lard or something? I mean, whoever thought about, hey, now, let's get, Billy, he kind of smells underneath his arms now. Let's get some of the fat from that dead pig over there and rub it under his arm. How did they ever discover? I mean, it amazes me how people discover stuff.
As a school teacher, a former school teacher, I love knowing the answers to things. I don't know that answer, Rhett. So maybe one of our other people could tell us about how we invented soap. Anybody here? I don't know.
It's funny because I'm sitting here thinking, we have slots available. And there's a few left, which people have to pay for.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, I know you live way out in Oregon. But I'm thinking, well, we're iHeartRadio. We're like national, international. You could have a show, and I don't even know if this is an interest to you or you could even afford it. I don't know your situation. I don't know anything about you, but I was thinking, boy, this could. See, talk radio is very. I've had more people dealing with health tell me that my radio show in 23 years has saved their lives.
I love that. That's beautiful.
It is. Like a lady comes up to me and said, she said, you saved my eyes. How? I sent her to Dr. Mal and Dr. Katz. She had macular degeneration, and it saved her from going blind. Then another man said, I was at an RV show out at the mall, and this guy sitting there and said, hey, you saved my life. I said, how? He said, because of you, I found out about prostate cancer. I flew off to that doctor that I was interviewing via the telephone down in Texas, went to see me, saved his life. This goes on a lot. People that listen to talk radio are very much concerned with their health. I don't know why it attracts. Maybe it's because it's a brighter people. Dumb people don't listen to talk radio. And I can say that on the radio because
they're not listening.
That's it. So who am I going to offend if you're listening? You're smart. generally affluent.
Yeah.
And if you're not affluent, you probably will be. But anyways, management, doctors, most of the doctors that sponsor my show were all listeners before. But anyway, just a thought. I thought, boy, you'd be great. And you could put it on. You could put it on at 11:30 in the morning, which would be what time where you are. What's 3 hours minus 11:30? 8:30. So 8:30 in the morning, which is prime time drive out in Oregon. You could be on the air. You just have to direct people to iHeartRadio, WAXE, which everybody's doing now anyway. All the kids, the millennials, they're not listening to radios anymore.
Well, Rhett,
They
I
want to
think,
listen to the podcasts, etc.
so I'm going to say that's a great compliment. And right now, out of this one interview, you and I have a book planned. So we're going to be writing a book.
You got a radio
And
show,
now I've got a radio show.
and I'm your new agent. Sign here, kid. We're going to make you a star.
So, but really, I love what you said about helping people, because I think that is what motivates me more than anything. And that's why I left the public schools and went into nutrition and started working in my private practice, and then developed my superfood, my nutrition formulas, is because I want to help people be healthy and smart too, so because if your body's working, your brain's working,
How true.
right? And so, and we have an Alzheimer's epidemic in this country right now, and I
Oh,
know that
yeah.
a lot of people in this town, there are a lot of retirees here. That's here with my mom, and I'm always thinking about that. How do we prevent these things? How do we get more nutrition in us? And so, for you to give me the opportunity here to give anybody any kind of clue on how they can have better health outcomes.
We appreciate you being in here. Now, you
Yeah.
take a 50-pound bag of potatoes,
Yeah.
lift it up.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about you, but I remember I had a little dog that weighed about 14 pounds. And when I had him in my arms and I started walking around for a half an hour through a mall or something, that got awful heavy. That's 14 pounds, let alone 50 pounds. Now, I'm over 50 pounds overweight,
That's right.
which means slowly, just like to say, how do you boil a frog? You put him in hot water, he's going to jump right out. But if you put him in cold water and you slowly turn up the heat, he won't jump out and he will boil to death. Okay, the same thing with weight. I've slowly put on this 50 pounds. I'm carrying around, no wonder, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I lost about 40-ish pounds. And I feel so much lighter, and I can't wait to get back to that because of this weight. You put it on fat. Fat weighs a lot.
Fat weighs, and also in Florida, fat is insulation, so it's going to make you hotter in the
It is-
summer.
I hate
and,
summers now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's something to think about too. Well, I wonder, so one of the things that I help people with are lifestyle changes. And so what I'm wondering about is your exercise levels, Rhett. How much do you exercise?
Whenever I get the desire to exercise, I sit down, I wait till it passes.
So one of the things that you can do, so, my mom and I were talking about this morning. A lot of times people get intimidated when they think they need to put more exercise into their lives. We know this. It reduces the symptoms of depression. It helps with your metabolism. It's going to help with your brain function.
So the best antidepressant is
Exercise. It's the number one. Absolutely. And so, but what happens for a lot of people is they get inspired. Sometimes that happens at the beginning of the year, the new year, and they're going to lose weight and they make all these commitments to themselves. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm going to do this. I'm going to exercise. So big things, big changes. And maybe they even get to starting some of those changes, right? But they don't. That usually falls off. And so, Rhett, I'm going to offer you a challenge in this area.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, don't make a big plan. Make a little plan. And so something that you can manage.
Inch by inch.
Inch by
anything's-
inch, just like you
anything's a
said.
cinch.
You slowly put this on.
Yeah.
Well, what if you just slowly take it off? And so there's not something that you have to fail at. You promise yourself, I'm going to exercise. I'm going to take a walk for 10 minutes a day or 5 times a week. That's all I'm going to do is 10 minutes a day. And I know I personally cannot tell myself that I can't do that, that it's too much for me to fit in.
10 you
10
can do.
minutes, 5 minutes if you can't do 10.
Now, what about eating at night? Now, my biggest problem is I can go during the day without eating mostly, except 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but if I have a shake or something. But anyway, at night, it's the watching TV, and it's rewarding myself with popcorn. It's rewarding myself with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's rewarding myself with, I do try to now do fruits and vegetables and stuff. But maybe I need to join a health club and go at 9 o'clock at night. I know it's the last thing in the world you want to do at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, and it might interfere with your sleep, because one of the things that's going to do is it's going to increase your heart rate and it's going to put you in that active mode that we were talking about
Well,
with
I
your
could
nervous
cancel
system.
my morning radio show. I could exercise, and then I could do what I really want to do, which is write songs and poetry late at night.
Right.
Because the best time of my creativity is about 3:00 in the morning when I get into flow.
Right. Well, after we publish our book,
Yes.
we'll look at
We'll
that.
have enough dough that I won't have to do the radio show anymore.
But in the meantime, what I would say is, well, you know, not to, I'm not going to tease you too bad, but you know, you weren't here at the crack of dawn, and so maybe when you wake up, you could put that 5 minutes in, and so,
Yes.
and I think that the more successful you are in certain arenas, the more it will
It builds.
inspire you in others, and so
Yeah.
focus on what you can do, and so maybe you've already replaced some of those unhealthy snacks in the evening with healthy ones.
Okay, now, is there any? Now we've only got 41 seconds
Oh, wow.
left.
Okay.
What are some? First of all, what's your website?
LivingLoveSuperfoods.com.
What is that again?
LIVING.
LivingLoveSuperfoods.com.
Superfoods.com.
Are there foods that I can eat that will take off the pounds?
You are increasing your servings of healthy fruits and vegetables, eating more nuts. I think those are really good examples. Replacing some of your, cutting out pastas,
Yeah. of
eating
course.
less pasta and grains will always give you a benefit.
Yeah. And potatoes. Okay, once again, your website is?
LivingLoveSuperfoods.com.
You and I in a series of getting and staying healthy together. This is the Mayor of the Airwaves.
Right.
That was so
was
awesome.
so
Thank you
much
so
fun.
much. I had such a good time.
That was really fun.
Good. Yeah, that was good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes, well spoken.
Yeah, put those 2.5 hours together. We got a great hour to play multiple times.
That's what I already marked down to edit this and use it during the summer. Great show. 2.5 hours.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, hold on a second. I'll just check out something. Does anybody see my phone? Here it is.
That's amazing. You haven't looked at it once. Usually,
Let me look here.
are we going on anymore?
Oh, somebody's listening. Richard Cletter's at Monsanto and Roundup. That's what's causing the cancer.
I've said that.
Okay. Bixby says, is it true that you attempted to eat a meatball sub while riding your Vespa? So, Monsanto and Roundup, that's what's causing the cancer. Yep, see? That's from our
It's-
listener, Richard Clay.
I believe that our country is, we're poisoning ourselves.
I'm not going to go live the next half hour because I got to go. Somebody's at the house. I got an expert. I would like to go another half an hour with her, but I gotta meet this guy.
All right, so I got to get a second.
Yeah, maybe you could play the first half hour that I did with her again.
I'm recording.
Oh, you
I
can't do that.
turn it
Okay, we'll
around.
do that later. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. thank
And
you.
also, if you want an MP3 of the,
I would.
he'll send it to you. You
I-
can
I-
use it on your.
you can
Feel free to use
email
it.
before you
Use
leave.
it on your website. You know.
Yeah, I
and,
will.
You know, but you know, you ought to consider that. I don't know if you can afford it at this
I
point.
don't know what the price is.
We'd have to talk. Well,
Okay.
our normal half hour is $7.50 for a half an hour. But that's not
Weekly.
No, that's for the month. That's a half hour for
Okay.
the month. You know, but you could now. I do recording. Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
I record right on the iPhone. I wonder what else. Let's see. I could. Well, we can talk about this. When are you leaving town?
I'm
Tomorrow?
leaving town Thursday morning.
Oh, we have time then.
Okay.
Let's. Why don't you think about this, and then we'll get together. Maybe I know I've got a 11:30 I got to go to. Then I've got a 1:30 I have to go to. But later on in the day we could get together and just chat. You know,
Okay.
because.
I'll let Beverly facilitate.
Well, I have to
Okay.
tell you that selfishly, it's great content too.
Right. Thank you.
Oh no, but listen, I'm telling you something. You don't realize you could, have to sign her up. I'll be her agent. No, seriously, people aren't you interested in this? Who doesn't eat? We all eat.
Yeah.
That person's waiting at my house. My house
Okay.
is on 5 minutes now. Yeah, we better do that. Once you guys go, enjoy yourselves.
Thank
Will you
you.
call me at about 3 o'clock? We'll get together.
Okay.
Sometime after 3.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'll call. You'll call. I don't have your number, but
Yeah.
We've
Do
already-
you drink coffee or no?
yeah, I've already had my coffee for the day. I drink 2 cups a day.
Oh, that's all. You live yourself.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll drink something
I
else.
mean, I could literally talk. I bet you we could
Uh-huh.
go 4 hours and not repeat ourselves.
Uh huh. I agree with that.
I love
I've got
this
a lot
stuff.
of information in my
We
brain.
wanted
Well, I'm a foodie, so this
Yeah.
is like, whoa,
Yeah.
man.
Well, and everyone should be a foodie at this
Yeah.
point because it's how it means everything.
Now
on how you feel.
things I put over here, we got to set it up with our other guests that come in here, our other hosts, not to touch my papers there because we can't find my ad
That's
for
Write that
Mercedes.
in your notes.
I didn't do my ad for Mercedes, but you can play one of those things. Sounds when I'm live, right? Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
We're obligated to play those every day.
It was
Okay.
nice to meet you.
I'll see you guys later this
Okay.
afternoon.
Okay.
It was
Nice to meet you
Pleasure.
again.
Thank
I feel
you.
the same way. I feel the
Oh,
same
thank
way.
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. That was
I
terrific.
didn't
Yeah,
officially
and I
meet
knew
you.
when you walked in the
Nice to
door,
meet you.
this man
Nice
is
to meet you
present
as
in
well.
his heart, and it's going to go well. And then you said it. You're like, I'm in my heart.
Yeah,
That's how you
it's
do
all
it.
about the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. It was great to talk to you.
Mr. B,
Yeah.
thank you for coming in.
You're most welcome.
I gotta go. I'll talk to you a little
So-
later.
Okay. So what do I do now? Do I just
Hang with
bother
her.
Beverly?
Yeah, bother Beverly. Ask her a bunch of questions.
Awesome.
And all set to go for someone else.
I gotta go. I'll be back.
Bye, Rhett.
How are you?
Fine, Kelly.
Do you have a church in town?
I go to Barrow, to Calvary Chapel Barrow.
Okay.
I
That's
love
the
it.
one that's right down. Gosh, what's it? I'm not from here, so and it's.
Yeah.
But I know which one that you're speaking of.
Yeah, it's 17th and 17th and 10th
Yes, 10th. That's what I was gonna say.
Avenue. And I love it because it's verse by verse, both Sunday and Thursday.
Oh, awesome.
And so we're on
even get there.
Romans. He goes verse by verse with it. I tell you, I've never been so close to the Lord because as the years go by, you get the whole counsel,
You do.
Genesis through Revelation.
That's
It's
amazing.
my, and he's so enjoyable.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure.
All right,
Kelly.
same. Good to meet you. God bless.
God bless you.
Barbara.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well.
You're awake?
Hey, Beverly.
I just noticed your phones are not plugged in.
Where's Rhett?
Rhett, he quickly took off. He has somebody at the house.
Oh,
I want to give you my book.
okay. Let me get Mom settled. Her leg was hurting. Hey, Mr. B, it's getting kind of cloudy out. I don't know if you want to take the top off.
Yeah, I've been looking at the radar. And, got nothing coming this well.
All right, well, I've been there and then it's dusk, so
Okay.
going back.
Did Biblical Bill leave?
Just go to the bathroom. Having trouble walking?
Did Biblical Bill leave?
I guess he did.
Jeez.
He did. His car is gone,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
It ended so abruptly.
I know.
All of a sudden, everybody was gone.
And I had to fill segments here, you know? It's doing it like off my cuff.